Imagine a world where you have never seen your own face. You know the faces of your tribe, the textures of the earth, and the colors of the hunt, but you are a mystery to yourself. For the vast majority of human existence, this was our reality. Our ancestors didn't have glass and silver, they had nature. The very first mirror wasn't a manufactured object. It was the surface of a still pond. Legend tells us of Narcissus, who fell so deeply in love with his own reflection in the water that he withered away, unable to look away from the self he had finally discovered. But water is fleeting. A ripple, a breeze, or a single drop of rain can shatter the image. Mankind wanted something permanent. Something they could hold. Around 8,000 years ago, in the Neolithic settlements of Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, humanity found its answer in the heart of volcanoes, obsidian. By painstakingly polishing this black, volcanic glass, our ancestors created the first handheld mirrors. They weren't perfect, they were dark, moody, and ethereal. To look into an obsidian mirror was to look into a shadow world. For the elites of Catalhoyuk, these mirrors were more than vanity. They were portals. They believed the reflection wasn't just light bouncing off a surface, but a glimpse into the soul. This is where the mystery begins. How did a piece of black rock evolve into the high-definition glass that dictates our self-worth today? Join us as we step through the looking glass to uncover the hidden history of mirrors. As humanity mastered fire and bronze, the dark, moody obsidian mirror began to face a shimmering new rival. We are now entering the age of metal. Around 3000, in the cradle of civilization, Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt, black stone was replaced by highly polished metal discs. Bronze, copper, and even speculum, an alloy of copper and tin, became the new canvases for reflection. In ancient Egypt, mirrors were not merely personal tools, they were sacred objects. Shaped primarily in circular discs, their polished surfaces were linked to the sun god, Ra. To hold a copper mirror was to catch the very breath of the divine. Egyptian mirrors were often crafted with elaborate handles, sometimes featuring Hathor, the goddess of beauty and love, or an intricate papyrus stalk. For an Egyptian elite, a mirror wasn't just reflecting their face, it was an artifact of their status, a connection to the gods, and a prerequisite for their journey into the afterlife. But metal had a profound limitation. Unlike the clear water or the sharp, though dark, obsidian, a polished bronze mirror produced a distinctively warm, golden, and often wavy image. Imagine seeing yourself bathed eternally in twilight, your features slightly distorted by the patina of time. These mirrors required constant care, polished daily with abrasives to keep the self visible. Yet, metal mirrors traveled far beyond the Nile. In China, intricate bronze mirrors with cosmological patterns on their non-reflective sides were buried with elites, believed to guide the soul and repel evil spirits with their light. Metal was the norm for millennia, from the disciplined legions of Rome to the refined dynasties of China. But as civilization grew more sophisticated, the desire for an undistorted, clear reflection, that a true self, would push craftsmen toward a material that had always been fragile, yet perfectly clear, glass. To unlock the perfect reflection, however, they would first have to learn how to make glass meet metal in a dangerous embrace. For centuries, the world saw itself through a golden, distorted haze. But in the 16th century, on a small, secluded island in the Venetian lagoon called Murano, a revolution was brewing. The Venetians had discovered something the world had never seen, a way to marry the clarity of glass with the brilliance of metal. They used a dangerous and toxic technique. By coating a sheet of ultra-clear glass with an amalgam of tin and liquid mercury, they created the first, true mirrors. For the first time in history, a person could see every wrinkle, every pore, and the exact color of their own eyes. The reflection was so perfect, it was terrifying. This secret was so valuable that the Venetian Republic turned Murano into a high-security prison for glassmakers. To leave the island was a crime punishable by death. The Council of 10 sent assassins to track down any craftsman who dared to share the secret of mirror-making with foreign powers. This wasn't just art, it was the most profitable monopoly in Europe. A single Venetian mirror could cost more than a naval ship or a grand villa. When King Louis XIV of France decided to build the Hall of Mirrors at Versailles, he couldn't afford the Venetian prices. In a bold act of industrial espionage, his ministers bribed Venetian masters to defect to France. The secret leaked, the monopoly shattered, but the cost was high. Many of those defectors died under mysterious circumstances, allegedly poisoned by Venetian agents. The mirror had shifted from a sacred object of the gods to a weapon of power, wealth, and deadly secrets. We had finally achieved the perfect reflection, but we had to kill for it. As the secrets of Murano spilled across Europe, mirrors became common, but our fear of them grew deeper. Why do we believe breaking a mirror brings 7 years of bad luck? This superstition traces back to the Romans, who believed that life renewed itself every 7 years. Because a mirror was thought to reflect the soul, breaking one meant shattering the soul's health for an entire cycle. But mirrors aren't just for superstition, they are the ultimate test of consciousness. In the 1970s, psychologists developed the mirror self-recognition test. By placing a small mark on an animal's body that they can only see in a mirror, scientists discovered a rare club of self-aware beings: humans, great apes, elephants, and dolphins. To recognize yourself in a mirror is to realize that you exist as an individual in a vast universe. Today, we have pushed the mirror to the very edge of space. The James Webb Space Telescope doesn't use glass like the one in your bathroom. It uses 18 hexagonal segments made of beryllium, coated in a layer of gold only a few atoms thick. These mirrors don't reflect visible light, they catch infrared whispers from the birth of the first stars, 13.5 billion years ago. From a still pond in a Neolithic forest to a golden eye floating in the void of space, the mirror has been our most constant companion. It taught us how we look, then it taught us who we are, and finally, it showed us where we came from. So, what is a mirror? It is more than just glass, silver, or light. It is a silent witness to our evolution. It held the gaze of Neolithic hunters, reflected the divine power of pharaohs, and survived the deadly secrets of Venetian masters. Today, it sits quietly in our pockets and stares back at us from the edge of the universe. It has taught us how we look, then it taught us who we are, and finally, it showed us where we came from. But as we look into the mirrors of the future, digital, smart, and perhaps even quantum, the question remains the same as it was 8,000 years ago. When you look into the glass, do you see only your face, or do you see the thousands of years of human curiosity looking back at you? The reflection hasn't changed. We have. Thank you for joining us behind the ordinary. This is Behind the Norm. Don't forget to look closer. We'll see you in the next reflection.